In this video, we're going to look at how to create a large format estimate. I'm in the Estimates module. I'm going to hover over the Estimates tab and select Add New. Then in this first field, I'm going to start typing my customer's name, and it appears from the CRM section. And all their various company details and addresses have appeared on the left-hand side here. On the right, in the item type field, I'm going to choose large format. Then I've got a choice between a linear calculation, a square foot calculation, or a tiling job. I'm going to choose linear. And in this case, I'm going to call the estimate a small van wrap. So we're going to do a vehicle wrap. And at this stage, I'm not going to get involved in these various dates and other pieces of information. We can always deal with this later on. So I'll click Next. And on this second screen, we can put in up to 4 quantities. In this instance, I only need 1 quantity because it's just a price for 1 van wrap. I'm going to choose the machine that we're going to print on. I'm going to use this HP. And as it happens, the material that's set as the default for this machine is the one I want to use. But if it wasn't, I'll click on this plus button, and I can see all my various substrates that have been loaded into the inventory module of the system. And I could choose one of those. However, I actually want 2 substrates. I want one that I'm going to print on, and I need a second one, which is going to be a laminate. So I'm going to click on this Add More Stock option. And I think the material I want is an MDX. So I'm just going to search for that. Here it is. So I've got 2 materials, one I'm printing on and the other which is going to be an over laminate. I'm doing this in full color. I'm doing it single-sided. I'm going to say it's going to be about 90% ink coverage. And I'm going to do this on the highest quality setting. The roll I've chosen is 55 inches wide, 1,800 inches wide, long to roll. And I can choose a size for my print job from this drop down of pre-built sizes. I can do a custom size. So I'm going to do a custom size. I'm going to say that I'm going to do something that's 50 inches wide. And let's say it's going to be 150 inches long. And the system's telling me how many feet in length of the roll that's going to use. When we're using this linear calculation, the system is assuming you're using the full width of the roll. Even if your print job doesn't require it, the system is assuming that anything that gets trimmed off the edges is going to waste. They're going to choose a cutting option. I'm just going to choose some hand trimming. So that's my selections for the print, the substrates we're printing onto, and the trimming. And I'm going to click Finish. In this next section, I've been taken to what we call the other costs. And I'm going to choose a studio cost or a design cost. I'm going to choose this artwork hourly charge. And the system's asking me how many hours for artwork. I'm going to say there's 1.5 hours. So in other words, we're going to do a bit of design work or tidy up the file that the customer's submitted. And this is a simple formula. It's 1.5 hours by $35. That comes to $52.50. But then when we created this cost in the system, we added 100% markup to it. So we're actually going to charge the customer $105 for the 1.5 hours of artwork. I'm also going to go to my signage costs, and I'm going to look for an application cost. So how many hours for installation? Bit of a clumsy word there. We should have said application when we created that, but that could just be changed in the settings. I'm going to say this is going to take 5 hours. Now, how many people? I'm going to say it's just a 1-person job. And so that's a simple calculation. 5 hours times 1 person times $20. But then we've got 100% markup on it. So we're going to charge the customer $200. I'll save that. And let's say that's all we need to do. I'll just click Finish. We could add more costs there if there were other elements that we needed to add on. There's no limit to how many you can have. We're now on the estimate summary screen, and you can see we've got all our costs here. So we've got a cost for the 2 materials. That's the first material, and then the second one. We've then got a cost for the ink. It's pretty small, the printing and the cutting. Then here we've got the cost for the design and the installation. And these are all being added up to give us a subtotal, which is the selling price before tax is added. And then we've got the tax amount here. And you can have your system set to default to the most common tax, which would probably be your local tax in America. And the tax is being added, and we've got the selling price. And down at the bottom, we can see our gross profit in dollars and also as a percentage. So the idea is when you've done an estimate, you just cast your eye down the numbers, coming to the bottom to check that the gross profit is suitable. If you wanted to make changes here, you could do so. For example, we could add another 10% onto this, or we could add minus 10% to discount it. If I get rid of that, we could just say, I want to add another $20. So you've still got the ability to fine tune things. You could also just change the subtotal price as well. You could just round that up to 1,000 or round it down to 900 as you wish. On the right-hand side, we've got some description fields which will appear for the customer in their estimate. And some of these have been filled out by the system as we were making our selections, building the estimate. I can add more information here if we want. So for example, I could type text in here about the artwork, or I could just click on the plus button and I could choose a phrase that we've built previously. So we can just say, an hour's artwork time. I don't actually want to tell the customer what size we're printing. That's not that relevant for them. They just want their van wrapped. And in the finishing, for example, I could click on the phrase there and I could choose something from here as well if I wanted to. I'm going to click Save and Stay. Now, if I come to our estimate options, I can go to Print Email, and the system will build an estimate template as a PDF for us. And we can see all the details that the customer is going to see. Obviously, this would all be branded up with your branding and logos. That's pretty good. We can see the quantity. We don't really need the price per unit in this instance, so we probably have another template that doesn't include that. Price per unit would be more useful if we were doing small items, perhaps like stickers, that sort of idea. But we've got the subtotal, the tax amount, and then the amount including tax. I'm happy with that. I'm going to click the email button up here on the left, and the system's built the email for me. I don't actually need to make any changes to this. It's already set up. I can just click send, and the email is sent straight from the system to the customer. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the status for this estimate, which enables us to know where it's up to. I'm going to say that we're awaiting approval. And that's our estimate complete. So that was an estimate for a large format item using the linear calculation.